Good evening and welcome to the Farm Drive. And with you is Dr. Akinya. I'm your host. Together with me is.
I'm Stephanie Sharon Okayo. We'll be sharing the topic together.
Yeah, that is my colleague here with me today. And as we promised, new week, new content with you here today. Before I even continue, let me remind you to not forget to check our social media handles. That is on Facebook at Our Farmers Media, and on Twitter at Our Farmers Media, and as well as our website, that is www.ourfarmersmedia.com. Thank you for joining us here. And Stephanie will tell us something about agroforestry.
Okay, before we start on agroforestry, we have to know that we are talking about agroforestry in relation to climate smart agriculture.
True.
Yeah, so what we need to know first is what is climate smart agriculture. Okay, to your understanding, what can you say climate smart agriculture is?
Okay, thank you so much, Stephanie. The climate smart agriculture is a plan that was introduced to us in a way that was to help us in relation to agroforestry as one of the plans that was suggested to help us cope with the current climatic conditions and see how we can try to get new crops and make our lands fertile for growing different crops, keeping different livestock, and to help people also achieve maybe get their income, and to work harder into receiving more from what they should be producing from their farm.
Yeah, so in short, climate smart agriculture is the adaptation and resilience,
Yes.
those agricultural practices that have been brought about to facilitate the adaptation and resilience of farming practices to the changing climatic conditions in general.
Yeah.
So agroforestry is one of the climate smart agricultural approaches.
True.
So that's what we'll be getting into today, and that's what we'll be talking about. So let's begin. What is agroforestry?
And even before we continue with what is agroforestry, please remember not to touch that dial, because this is going to be an interest topic with me, Dottie, and Stephanie. And as we continue, what is agroforestry? And agroforestry is simply the interaction of trees and crops in the same piece of land. Maybe you find that you have your trees here and you have your crops, and they grow hand in hand. And during this growth of these crops, you have to ensure that the trees that you're growing are not taking a lot of water, receiving a lot of water. They should be helping the crops that you're growing to grow up, and at least at the end of the day, you'll not be feeding the trees and getting more from the trees than,
Yeah, agroforestry, it gives a lot of benefits. Like there are some plants that need shade for them to thrive. Plants need fertilizer, they need manure. So from the leaves that will be falling from the agroforestry, like we plant trees, we plant shrubs, we plant, and we can also incorporate the livestock in the same piece of land. Yeah, so I think it will be beneficial in like conservation agriculture. The leaves will provide mulch. So there's so much importance of agroforestry, like in determining this climate smart agriculture. Yeah. So in agroforestry, there are so many systems that actually agroforestry has some key criteria that we need to look at. Yeah. And me and my colleague here, like we did a little bit of research on the key criteria of agroforestry, and there are actually 4. So I think each of us will go around two, so that we create that interaction. Yeah. So let me begin. The key criteria characterize agroforestry practices. We can say, I can just mention all of them first, and then we see a way to go around them. One is intentional, another one is intensive, the other one is integrated, and the 4th one is interactive. So on intentional agroforestry, there's combination of trees, crops and or livestock, crops and livestock. You can choose either, that are intentionally designed, established, or managed to work together and yield multiple products. So from the interaction between plants, crops, and or animals, you are expecting, you are intentional about why you have decided to do it that way.
Yes.
You are and yield multiple products and benefits, rather than if you plant an individual element which may occur together but are managed separately. So intentional agroforestry, you do it with the intention of getting something from it. Yeah. So I'll leave the next to you.
Yeah, the next one is actually the intensive agroforestry. And the intensive agroforestry, this is where we create and intensively manage and maintain the productive and protective functions, and often involve cultural operations such as cultivation, fertilization, and we also have irrigation, pruning, and thinning. So I think intensive really goes deeper into the process that you need to look at while planting and putting everything together. And by the way, if you look at the current climatic condition and the situation that the country is going through, we really need to like adopt like agroforestry, which will help us in the near future, because about recently our president lowered the banning of cutting down trees, because he maybe felt that it was okay, because trees are actually used to do a lot of things. We get timber from trees, paper, and more, even fuel, remember. So I don't know how this is going to work with us, but yeah, that is that.
I think as our audience, we should get your opinion on the lifting of the cutting of trees.
True. Yeah, this is a very controversial topic that if maybe you can join us and help us know if you're going on with this or not, because we need to know from people how they feel and how they would want to react to the lifting of the banning of the cutting down of trees. Because recently, some years back, we could see how the late Professor Wangari Maathai was fighting for the growth of trees, and this really helped us a lot. And you remember, even when she was dying, she said that she should not be buried with a coffin, but instead in a different way, which was really good. And may her soul rest in peace. And she is our hero.
Yeah. So we should really talk about that. We should really put into consideration what will happen with that, because people wananchi people will cut trees. People will cut trees because the president said we are able to cut trees.
Exactly. And let us not also forget that the price of everything is spiking, and we have the gas that not everybody can afford the gas. And if the lifting of the cutting down of trees is there, people are going back to using makaa like we used to in the back in the days. And that is something that we don't know. But anyway, your take on this, we will be waiting for you here at A Farmers Media. Any comment, anything that you would like to ask or maybe want to know, please let us know, and it will be an interesting topic. Anyway, as we continue,
let's go to the fourth criteria of agroforestry. We're talking about integrated. Components are structurally and functionally combined into a simple integrated management unit tailored to meet objectives of the landowner or the farmer, let's say. Of the farmer. Integration may be horizontal or vertical, above or below ground, simultaneous or sequential. So I think this speaks about how you're going to arrange your crops in an agroforestry system. So that's just a personal choice for the farmer or the person. And I also think that it depends with the place that your land is, because there are some lands that are on slopes, but you still want to practice agroforestry. So I think that's just something personal for every farmer.
If you're saying that we may choose the kind of way that we arrange our crops, does that bring in the contour farming or something? Because that is where you find on the upper side you have trees, then next you have the maize, then the beans, like that.
Actually, even contour farming is a form of climate smart agriculture.
Oh, nice.
Because in the way that you arrange your crops, it also determines how, if you will lose soil.
Okay, very nice. And the next one, you have the interactive agroforestry, and this is actively manipulating and utilizing the interaction among components to yield multiple harvestable products, while concurrently providing a numerous conservation and ecological benefits. Yeah, that is all about interactive agroforestry.
I think that's self-explanatory, unless any of our audience would like to expound on it in the comment section, or like ask questions about it. Yeah.
So down you move to the characteristics of agroforestry practices. Do you have anything on that, maybe?
Yeah, I have something on the characteristics of okay, the plants that you are putting up in an agroforestry system, they shouldn't affect each other negatively.
Oh yeah.
By that I mean, like, the shrubs that you are going to plant there shouldn't affect maybe the food crops that you are going to plant there. Yeah. In terms of nitrogen, in terms of offering nitrogen, they shouldn't compete for nutrients.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Because actually the reason why we are doing the agroforestry interaction between crops and trees is to help the crops to get nutrients and to at least get support from the trees, whereby the trees may act as windbreakers, if I'm not wrong, right? Yeah. So if we are going to do the agroforestry, the crops should gain more than the trees. That is.
And also the plants that you are going to put up in an agroforestry system, they shouldn't affect the soil moisture. And in climate smart agriculture, we should say they shouldn't be producing carbon because it affects the atmosphere.
I see.
Yeah. So maybe we divert a little bit into organic agriculture while considering agroforestry systems, or what you want to put up in an agroforestry system. Yeah.
So still moving on, we have tree species selected should not interfere with the soil moisture. That is, and we also have tree species selected for agroforestry should have very less water requirement. They should be able to like withstand the harsh weather condition, maybe if we are receiving little rain, that is. And I think if they are able to do that, it will be really good for our crops, because there won't be the crops getting little water while they take a lot of water on their side.
Okay, there's another point I've got here that I'd like us to discuss, because most trees are umbrella-like. Yeah. Trees should permit penetration of light into the ground and promote better crop and pasture growth and yield. Because we know that crops, they need light. Is it oxygen, light, and for proper germination?
Oh yeah.
That during that process, light is
water, air, and warmth.
Yeah.
Some things you can forget because now we are getting older.
Yeah. Anyway, so what kind of woody plants can we put in an agroforestry system? Like stuff like Caliandra, but Caliandra, it has umbrella leaves.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true.
So let's try and think about forest farming. Like in which places, just critically, in which places do you think that we can practice forest farming? Not now the farm that you have put up for agroforestry. Yeah. You just go in the village. Actually, I know in our villages we have those two small
forests.
Farms
in a forest. Yeah. I think they are like the planted forest you're talking about. Are you talking about the natural forest?
Okay, these woody plants, I think they're those straight. I'm not sure about the exact scientific names.
Sure.
But I know it. They're those straight with less leaves. Those ones that permit you can actually, if you see a silhouette of them, you can see light rays getting it.
Madam, you're doing the silhouette. Anyway, that's interesting. At least I get to hear something new.
Before this show ends, we shall have researched the names so that we can give you tips on where to plant, because I know not all our villages have those trees.
Yeah, exactly.
We can also even do this. You can also propagate the seedlings.
Yeah, and that also reminds you, don't just use any trees in the name of doing agroforestry. You have to look at the ones that allow the crops to at least get light. Yeah, because sunlight is very important for our crops too.
Yeah, and the leguminous tree species which fix atmospheric nitrogen in their roots should be preferred. In an those are some of the characteristics of agroforestry. Maybe we just go through all of them. Is it a good idea?
Yeah, it's a good idea actually.
Okay. Just what we have said, but now I'm going through the entire list.
Okay.
Tree species selected should not interfere with the soil moisture. That one we have explained. Yeah. Tree species selected for agroforestry should have very less water requirement. True. Yeah, that's a good idea because trees, they consume a lot of water. Yeah, they shouldn't compete for water with the plants that zinamea pole pole.
Anyway, that's the whole point.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Yeah. Should not compete with main agricultural crops for water. It's just the same. Tree species should be deep tap rooted so that they can draw water from deep strata of the soil.
Exactly.
Science.
I tell you. Anyway, it's still being a presenter with brains, you know.
Yeah. Tree species should not compete for plant nutrients. The root system and root growth characteristics should ideally result into exploration of soil layers that are different to those being trapped by agricultural crops.
Yeah, and even as you continue, as you say that they should not compete in getting the nutrients with the crops, I think the trees should also be helping the crops to get more nutrients, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they help in increasing the soil fertility.
And holding the soil with their roots firm. Yeah.
I tell you.
Yes. Going on, we can talk about agroforestry systems.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Without forgetting some of them, we have tree species should have high survival rate and easy establishment. I hope you get what I mean by that. The level at which they should be persevering, they should not be very weak trees that cannot withstand harsh weather, be it floods or drought. At least they can withstand it for a longer period of time because they are helping our crops. That is the main point. Yeah, and that is why we are discussing agroforestry in relation to climate smart agriculture. Yeah.
Actually, agroforestry, when you just hear the term agroforestry and somebody doing agroforestry, even if they don't know that they are practicing climate smart agriculture, that's what they are practicing. Because in essence, climate smart agriculture is not something new to us. Yeah. It's something we have been doing, but we just didn't know, okay, it hasn't been packaged that this is climate smart agriculture because agroforestry, there is mulching from the falling leaves, there is conservation tillage, and all those things.
Yeah, and from here I can also see that hardy tree species are easy to establish because they can, they have less mortality percentage, whereas they can tolerate transplanting shock easily.
All right, any more characteristics because there are a lot.
Yeah. There is also another one where we have the trees having the ability to regenerate lateral roots within a short period of time after transplanting. That is, then we also have tree species should have a very fast growing habit and easy management because we can't actually take a tree that will give us a lot of problems. Yet the reason why we're doing the agroforestry is to actually try to reduce the problems that we are having. So you cannot tell me I need to get this problem and add it into another problem. So I need something that will, it's like looking at a business that will regenerate your money very fast. Yeah, we can't just look at a business whereby we have to pay for something that will stay in the shop for like 6 months. In a day you have to like close your shop, and you don't get a lot of income very early, and the profit is too low. It doesn't make sense. So as well as the trees, they should really have a fast growing habit and easy management in order to give us easy time, and also to give the crops easy time to grow, and at least get nutrients by them helping to generate fertility to the soil.
Yeah, talking about business, let's divert.
Hey, madam.
Do you think, like, ideally, a business can generate income that easily, so fast? Let's leave out this. Okay, maybe hawking business. But I don't think, because there's an article I read that any business takes a minimum of 3 years for you to start reaping the benefits. It's 3 to 5 years actually. For the first year, you'll just be investing. Maybe the second year you will have failed. You'll have given up. But because of passion, the third year you rise up. You go back to the business.
But I don't know if that is working in all areas, because I remember when starting my own business, whereby I could blend juice and sell them.
Nice.
First, it was because I could get the fruits from my mom's shop, and seeing that they were just getting spoiled, and I can at least create something from that. I thought, why not get a blender? And after getting a blender, I just started blending, and since my mom saw the passion, she just gave me the the cooler, and I started it. And selling it and keeping, maybe it's like having a plan. You see, if you have a plan for your business, no matter what, I know that it will thrive. But before you start a business, all I know is you have to have an entrepreneurial mind. That will really help you to know where your income goes, your profits, and be an economist.
Yeah. Okay. About that business.
Okay, anyway,
fruity business.
Yeah.
Did you put factors into consideration, like the price of the blender?
Of course,
the price of the cooler?
Of course.
And did you make that profit within that short period of time?
By the way, honestly speaking, I'm not sure of that, but I think I did. I did return the money that I used to buy it, and it was so painful. Imagine being conned 11,200. That is something that my mama. Imagine she just came and told me, you know how parents are, and they're like, I'll just return it. So I gave it after selling. Then after I gave it, she was like, unakula kwa hii nyumba, I pay your fees, and you see. So I think that is is how my money technically paid for the blender and the everything.
Something. Okay, it's in agroforestry, because we get timber in agroforestry, and the, what is it called? Maka. What is maka in English?
Charcoal. You literally know silhouette, but you forgot about charcoal. That is so funny.
Yes, I was selling charcoal when I completed Form 4. My mom started for me that business of selling charcoal, but I was doing all the logistics behind it.
I see what this place is doing for you, because if somebody looks at you right now on the TV or somewhere, and they will not look at you and say, this lady sold charcoal.
I'm struggled in this Nairobi.
Mambo imechemka.
But we move regardless.
Yeah, sure.
And something happened to me, like yourself. Though that during that time, I think I only needed money for credit.
Okay.
Yeah, because I lived with my mom. She provided everything. But now in this economy right now, when I look back to I used to make profit of at least, because back then charcoal was going for 700 per sack.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh, by the way,
700
speaking of 700, there was it was like 2 weeks ago. I was in West Pokot, and it's still going at what, 700 shillings?
700 per sack.
Imagine.
Tell me that place I go.
Anyway,
I know
this is getting too interesting, guys. Yes. And I would like to continue this more, but let us just take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right here with you. And please remember not to touch that dial.
Agroforestry is where you plant trees with crops or on the same land as rearing livestock. This system is climate smart in itself. It helps to conserve soil and water. It makes soils more fertile and can provide food and shade for your livestock. It's also a good way to make extra income from selling wood and timber. Here are some examples of crops, trees and livestock in agroforestry systems. Food crops: pigeon peas, sweet potatoes, green grams. Pastures: napier and bracharia. Fruit trees: citrus and pawpaws. Wood trees: eucalyptus, gravelia and neem. Livestock: cattle, sheep and goats. If you're interested in starting agroforestry on your shamba, ask your extension agent for advice or get in touch with iShamba.
Welcome back to our show, and we are continuing with agroforestry. And before we left for the commercial break, we were having some discussion, and we saw how business comes into agroforestry, or anything, anytime it's still business. And anyway, we are still back on agroforestry.
Yeah. Should we continue with the story?
Yeah, I think we should just finish on your point because it's really related to what you're talking about.
Okay, so whatever I was doing, I think it will give somebody also a business idea.
True.
You said West Pokot, they still sell it at 700.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you calculate the transportation and all, and nowadays the sack I used to package them in two kg containers.
So were you doing it in the normal way of burning charcoal, or there are these kind of charcoal I used to see people rolling them like the balls, you know?
Okay, no, not that way, not that way. I used to just buy from a source.
I
Yeah,
see.
but just too close to our house, so I didn't need so much transportation logistics. Yeah, so I used to just tell them, bring for me 3 sacks today. I package them in a 2 kg container, and that time it used to go for 30 shillings. But per sack, I used to make 100% profit. I used to go home with 1400, 700. I go 14 or 1500, 700. I go and buy again. I buy my stock again. Yeah, but that business, it ended, and we started some new things. Yeah, so we are still thriving in agriculture. We're still trying.
Of course. And in as much as we are adopting in the GMO, still the original crops are very important in our lives because at least we trust in them, and they are very, very rich in nutrients, and they prevent us from getting diseases and a lot of things from there. Even as we continue, we can see that a farmer must select those tree species which are palatable to livestock and have a high digestibility. And tree species should have shelter, conferring, and soil stabilization attributes. I know you understand what I mean by have shelter, conferring, and soil stabilization. They should be able to at least, that is, I think that is where we get the point of acting as windbreakers or something to prevent the crops from being washed away.
Yeah.
And soil stabilization attributes. And we see that some trees species, because of the inherent growth habit and adaptability, are especially helpful in providing protection for soil. That is what I was actually talking about, crops and livestock. And examples are poplars, willows, casuruna, equisetifolia, and etc. And we have maybe extensively used, so they have been used in soil erosion control because of the extensive roots. I remember you had a point where you were saying something that the trees should have long roots that are able to acquire water from deep
from deeper parts of the soil.
Exactly.
And also they facilitate, they hold the soil together.
To prevent the breakage and allow soil erosion to go through, right? Wow, very interesting.
Hey, we are learning with you
I know,
guys.
because this is just acting as facilitation, and it's really interesting. You know, I remember back in high school, I didn't really like agriculture. I don't know why. By the way, let me just give you a story about this. When I was in high school, before joining, actually, I remember I was joining Form 1 and I was all hyped. I had this friend who had done Form 4 and she did home science. until I forced my mom to buy a home science book. She did. And then when I got there, when I wanted to register for home science, they literally told me that the slot there's no more slots for home science students. So they just told me, just do agriculture. My dear, let me tell you, the first time I did agriculture, God, I got a D.
Oh my goodness!
I know, right? I got a D, and you can imagine when you're into drama and your teacher is your drama teacher is the agriculture teacher, and then now she's looking at you like this. The first from 1 to 10.
Why are you getting D in agriculture?
Oh God,
music and drama, you are excellent.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And speaking of music, don't even think music is easy. Don't even think music is easy. Anyway, guys, anybody taking music outside, I think you should just start doing agribusiness because it's not easy. Speaking from ostinatos and what. Yeah, but they have done music, a little of music. So I continued, and then you can imagine you're busy shining on drama, and when it comes to agriculture, my God. Until we reached Form 3, that's when we had this new teacher. Yeah. This teacher really liked to push me in as much as I didn't want it. Then kulikuwa na this paper one. Oh yeah. My God, paper one. And I remember it was all about plants. At least I liked livestock. I don't know what was in the livestock, but it was really interesting. And still, agriculture was just not for me, but I tried at least.
But look at you now.
Look at me now,
look
guys.
At you now. This is now where you know that agriculture is the next big
thing. Yeah, agriculture is just agriculture. It's just like land. It's not depreciating, guys. So it's still agriculture.
That's why this year, I think the whole of this year, the theme has been either a regenerative agriculture or climate smart agriculture, because that is where the world is heading to.
Of course.
Not only Kenya, the whole world, the entire world. We all want to thrive in agriculture because actually it's only agriculture that can sustain the humanity, that can sustain humanity, because without food, how will we operate? Honestly, we can't. Yeah. So going to the next, would you like to introduce a topic?
And just go on for now.
Yeah, we are going to dive into the systems of agroforestry.
Yeah.
And there are 5 recognized systems of agroforestry practices, or rather. There's riparian and upland forest buffers. There's windbreaks. That one is just
very key.
That one you just know it automatically comes.
Yeah.
And there's early cropping, there's silvopasture, there's forest farming. So we'll just break them down, we discuss them down a bit so that we can get a clear understanding and also engage you, our audience, on this. And you can also engage us, you can ask questions, you can tell us something, because we are learning together. This is where we connect, learn, and grow.
Yeah, true.
So riparian and upland forest buffers. Riparian forest buffers are strips of permanent vegetation consisting of trees, shrubs, and grasses planted or managed between agricultural land, usually cropland or pasture land, and water bodies. Okay, it's planted and managed between agricultural land and water bodies to reduce runoff and non-point source pollination. Forest buffers are usually planted in 3 distinct zones near an agricultural stream or stabilizing stream banks, improving aquatic and terrestrial habitats, and providing harvestable products. Upland buffers with cool or warm season grass alone or combined with shrubs or trees are also used to reduce non-point source pollination and prevent gully formation in agricultural watersheds. Yeah. So this is basically planting near riverbanks, near like those water bodies, and in between plants.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. All right. You can take us through windbreaks.
Oh yeah, even before we continue, let us just at least give something about climate smart crop production practices and technology. Yeah, because this is the major reason we are going through all of this. And if you look at climate smart agriculture source book, we have a lot. We have use of quality seeds and planting materials of well-adapted crops and varieties. And an indispensable input for climate smart crop production is quality seeds and planting materials of well-adapted varieties. By the way, recently I've been seeing a different type of seeds. You wonder, because I don't know if you get this, but the kind of is it because I'm used to eating ugali, because when growing up I could the taste of the old ugali and the
It's
taste,
different.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like they are different varieties of this maize
Maize.
seeds,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't know, or maybe we are growing and so the the taste changes.
I think nowadays most people use so much chemicals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
During planting. Okay, soil management is also important because without mature soil, or how can I put it? Without fertile soil, let's put it that way, like your plant won't grow to that, won't meet that optimal, that needed capability. Yeah, and also most people nowadays resort to using these fertilizers that hizo zenye zinafanya crop ina grow haraka.
True.
Yeah, they were, yeah. So I think pia the variety matters there, and pia the fertilizers that are used during planting, yeah, and management, because you have to manage a crop for it to reach where it's supposed to be, for it to be mature. Yeah, you have to manage it, and then maybe most people they harvest when it's not ready.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
They do.
I think that can also be a factor. Our audience can tell us if you harvest maize when it's not ready, or if does organic maize taste different from the, is it called conventional or something? Yeah, the one planted with so many chemicals,
fertilizers. Yeah.
Does
And
it taste different? Because I know in the olden days, most things were being done natural, but now technology came. Technology spoiled everything. That's why now we are again talking about climate smart agriculture.
Yeah, true. And even in as much as it spoiled most of the things, definitely can't forget to say that we have benefits from them. And even as we continue, there's something about sprout and climate smart agriculture. I don't know if you have something on that.
Okay, Sprout. Okay, Sprout is basically a company, and climate smart agriculture is the project. Yeah. Yeah. So when we're talking about agroforestry, we're talking about Sprout, and we're talking about climate smart agriculture.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's really no much to say about Sprout because it's just a company.
Of course, you've just heard
that
that
advocates for climate smart agriculture. Yeah.
You just heard that from Stephanie, and to get more, please check our comments on our comment section from the live video you're seeing right here. You'll get the materials for the sprout and smart agriculture. Thank you so much. And even as we continue, we look at the challenges of agroforestry. Of course, we have the advantages, that is, and everything that has an advantage, that is something I learned while growing up, has a disadvantage. And although the advantages of agroforestry are gaining attention internationally and locally, we have the challenges and obstacles, of course, and addressing them is what constitutes the basis of the Food and Agriculture Organization, that is FAO. And in its paper Advancing Agroforestry on the Policy Agenda, a guide for decision makers, FAO has recognized the following challenges and obstacles. So we have delayed return on investment, and this is despite the fact that trees become profitable as they produce positive net present values over time. The break-even point for some agroforestry system may occur only after a number of years. That is one.
Or because of the slow rate of growth of trees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think when we speak of delayed return on investment, we are still going back to business where you are saying that
Yes.
some business can take 3 to 4 years, something you read somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So it's just correlating.
And there is underdeveloped markets. That is the second challenge of agroforestry. Markets for tree products are both less efficient and less developed than for crop and livestock commodities. And value chains related to agroforestry system receive little support.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, can we say that it is because of the delayed return on investment? That's why most farmers they don't consider agroforestry, because they know that now if I plant this tree now and I want to do legumes here too, I want to do napier here, then now they start thinking, if I invest on tree seedlings, until when will I wait until they mature so that I can get timber from this tree?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that's the catch.
Yeah, and getting a company that is ready to get your materials, like the crops that you've grown, or maybe like for example trees, is very difficult, because we have to go through a lot of processes, and maybe if you need the money instantly, it want to be something very easy to get, and it will take a lot of time, and this is where we get underdeveloped markets. And I think you just said it's for trees products, where both they are both less efficient and less developed than for crop and livestock commodities, right? And we have emphasis on commercial agriculture. Here we have agricultural policies often offer incentives for agriculture that promote certain agricultural models, such as monoculture systems, and tax exemptions are usually aimed at industrial agricultural production, and agricultural price supports or favorable credit terms, which are granted for certain agricultural activities but hardly ever for trees, are also discouraging agroforestry adoption. So you see these many taxes, and maybe a lot of rules. It limits the farmer, and not all farmers are able to get this, exactly, are able to acquire the information that they need to get this license, they need to pay for this, or are being taxed for that, and maybe whatever they are selling, they need it immediately to do something else, you see. So maybe they feel, why should I do this thing, and it's going to waste my time with all the taxing and the pricing and whatever, and at the end of the day, maybe they get very little payment from that.
You can do it hard-headed.
Yeah.
Then you see KRA knocking on
Of
your
course.
door. You say that, I know, like, they won't find you when they come, but
they will always trace you. And they always find you when you reach, then they carry everything.
In fact, when you are starting, they will be nowhere to be seen.
True.
Yeah. But now when you are somewhere,
that is when they know, they're like waiting for you to thrive and thrive. But guys, this is a very serious matter, and please don't laugh, Stephanie. Okay. Yeah, it's a very serious matter, guys. Please file your returns, and don't forget to do that, because once the KRA people decide to come on your door, it won't be very good for you.
Be up to date.
Yeah, be up to date.
Your taxes. Yeah. The next challenge is limited awareness of the advantages of agroforestry.
Exactly. In as much as you are speaking of the underdeveloped market, I think this is where we see people are not aware of how agroforestry can help deal with the climatic issues, which is the major reason why we are doing agroforestry. And you see, looking at all this, I think agroforestry has more advantage than disadvantages.
Talking about awareness, who do you think is not aware? Because back then when I was growing up, there were bushes and thickets, and our grandmas used to plant some what is it called? What is it? Amaranth. Is it amaranth?
Oh yeah. Is it amaranth?
Oh no. Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
that one. Yeah, they used to plant it there. Okay, is it that they didn't know it was agroforestry? They lacked that awareness that this is a system, or are the large-scale farmers the ones not who don't want to understand that who don't want to put into consideration the agroforestry system.
Okay, any of them can be an answer depending on what our viewer might think. And yes, this is a question posed to you guys to help us know if maybe it was lack of information, lack of being enlightened, and maybe if it's ignorance or something.
No, we really need we really wish that there is an agroforester or a great expert
Exactly.
to help us here. Like
Sure.
as we continue learning, they should also be bringing their inputs. Yeah.
And under limited awareness of the advantages of agroforestry, I can see we have overdependence on conventional agricultural methods and inadequate knowledge of sustainable. That is what we are actually posing to our audience right now, right? And of sustainable approaches restrict the interested of policymakers in agroforestry development. This in turn influences negatively the amount of resources dedicated for research and dissemination, market information, and propagation of quality germplasm, which are all crucial for wide adoption of agroforestry practices.
Actually, that one has
Like
opened
covered
up
exactly and covered most of the things that we were actually talking about.
Doubts and questions about.
Yeah.
The next one is unclear status of land and tree resource.
Yeah.
Unsecured or ambiguous land tenure, common in developing countries, results in confusion about land delineation and rights, which may discourage people from introducing or continuing agroforestry practices here. In many places, lack of long-term rights to land inhibits long-term investment, such as agroforestry. In other cases, forest regulations preclude tree growing on farms by restricting the harvesting, cutting, and selling of tree products.
Yeah, and by the way, I remember back then, most of the things that were used by with the trees was creating charcoal out of the trees.
Yeah, mostly.
People didn't really know that fuel could also come out of the trees, even peppers.
I remember you mentioned pepper for the pepper.
Yeah, pepper.
You know, when you mention pepper, and I mean agriculture, you immediately think of pepper. Yeah, so when you mentioned pepper from trees,
you're like
pepper,
red pepper.
I need to get that tree so that I can produce pepper and sell it.
Yeah. And we also have unsecured or ambiguous land tenure, common in developing countries, which results in confusion about land delineation and rights, which may discourage people from introducing or continuing agroforestry practices. We have adverse regulations, whereby frequently agricultural policies penalize practices needed to implement agroforestry. Oh my God, can you imagine that? Policies that penalize practices needed for to implement agroforestry. And while supporting a large-scale approach to agricultural, food, and fuel products, the tax regime may also be less advantageous for forests compared with agricultural lands. Even when a program or policy aims to promote agroforestry, bureaucratic processes involved may be complicated or not elaborated in a manner specific to agroforestry and its potential users.
Actually, I think we really need somebody who is a policymaker on matters agriculture and all.
Yeah.
To come and explain for us the policies that are put in place that are preventing people from diversifying agriculture, like venturing into agroforestry, and also the tax. They should do something about taxing. They should tax smallholder farmers.
Yeah, tax. Yeah, but anyway, that is something that we are also posing to our viewers. What is your experience with agroforestry? What have you gone through while doing agroforestry? If there is any tax that you paid that you felt maybe was not making sense to you, because all these things need to be highlighted to us. We know this is right and this is wrong. There are people doing things that they don't even know are wrong. because they are not aware. Still going back to lack of knowledge. We just do them in for the sake of and that is something that you see people are looking at the disadvantages and not looking at the advantages, forgetting that there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
And sometimes as an individual, you will do something, but you are not sure if it's wrong or it's right. But an expert will tell you it's wrong. But the benefits are right.
True. True.
See, it happens like that sometimes.
And all these experts are human beings, and human beings make mistakes, and you find that it's also according to their views, their research. There are so many research online, and by the way, guys, not every research is true. There are research that are not correct. So whatever you're searching, ensure that you do deep research on it so that you cannot get confused. There are those that say yes, there are those that say no, but look at the positive side.
And also remember that you can create your own theory.
You can also create your own theories. Actually, the theories that we are living with are things that were created with people just like us, but they were people who saw before who were there before us, and since they were written down, we had to follow through. It's like I think a homestead. If you find maybe like for example, you have the traditional way. Maybe how do I call it? Is it I don't know. It's not coming, but let me just tell you. It's something like
a flag. Like the way a flag follows wind.
Something of the sort, or maybe.
Oh
wind. My God. Did you just say Bendera Ufata? Bendera Ufata upepo. Anyway, something of the sort. And you find that while growing up, maybe when you started reasoning, you knew that that is your father's chair. Nobody
that's a perfect example.
And if maybe you prepared chicken in your place, you find that we have gizzard, right?
For the
gizzard
men.
Is for the men.
But
oh my God, I tasted gizzard and it's very nice.
The husband, the big people.
Oh, I see. But I tasted gizzard. I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I eat this thing when I was because it's so nice by the way. And I don't know, some things, in as much as you're being told, you find that what you believe in is what builds you up, gives you your line, that the path that you should be taking. And I think beliefs are true. They can be true if you believe in them.
You can create your own reality.
Exactly. And you give it power, you give it life, and that is where you find people having different doctrines from different religions. And but by the way, matters of religion, matters of the heart. We're not doing it again. But that is that. Aside from what we are doing right now, and we also have a lack of coordination between sectors, and as an intervention affecting multiple sectors, including agriculture, forestry, livestock, rural development, environment, energy, health, water, and commerce. Agroforestry is often subject to policy conflicts and omissions, creating gaps or adverse incentives that work against its development.
Moreover, the various organizational cultures and objectives within the different departments may not allow room for agroforestry.
So I think here is where they're trying to say lack of you see, where you have maybe like your family, but people have different opinions. They don't want to work like together.
They don't want to collaborate.
To create something beautiful.
We can even look at the setting of this company. If we don't work together, we can't thrive as a company.
That is true. And together we can go very far. So I think it's just as in simple terms, different sectors are not working together. They are not coordinating to become to join forces and bring something beautiful, or push for an agenda that can help our farmers to not give up on whatever they are doing and trying agroforestry. And that includes agriculture, forestry, livestock, rural development, environment, and so on and on and on.
especially the rural development, because I find that agroforestry can really thrive in rural areas, because those are where we find like there's land that is free, nothing is going on in that land. There are trees. You can just start from there. You can just build something from there. But I think also the politics behind the ownership of these lands.
So we have where are we likely where are the likely adapters of agroforestry practices? Yeah, and that is one question I'd like to ask our viewers. And even as we continue, because of how diverse agroforestry is, there's no full fitting, like it's not fully fitting everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah, and agroforestry system. Agroforestry system.
We're going to the agroforestry system.
Agroforestry systems are implemented on farms and ranches across the US, and on all farm size and types. It doesn't matter the size of your farm, be it small, be it big, anywhere it can fit, depending just following the guidelines that we've just given you, characteristics and the do's and the don'ts. I think it's all possible anywhere. And currently the most comprehensive statistics for agroforestry adoption in the US actually is from the 2017 census of agriculture, which found that 30,853 farms use agroforestry. That is really interesting, and I wish our country would really adopt that, because it's really interesting. If we really put a lot of effort on agroforestry, I don't think we'll be complaining about food, water, and a drought.
Because first of all, the trees, they attract rainfall.
True. And we have extension services where the paradigm is instead to separate agriculture for food production, while forestry is focused on timber production and for providing ecosystem services. And this paradigm has created numerous barriers, preventing a scaling up of agroforestry.
Is that a challenge?
I think it's like a challenge, because looking here,
it's a mix of two.
Yeah, and the most important barriers are analyzed and actions presented for how this can be removed. And this analysis actually shows that farmers are facing challenges when practicing agroforestry, as there are few value chains.
Actually, the value chain management, it's something that I think our farmers, especially the ones who, we should just create general awareness.
And this is where we also look at the long-term investment. That is really affecting the agroforestry type of farming. And other barriers are found in research and higher education institutions dealing with agricultural forestry. And yes, and this report actually concludes that if the current barriers are addressed, farmers can fully benefit from agroforestry practices. And this is why I was really calling upon the different sectors that we have, the leaders from the different sectors that we have, to listen to the plea and the cry of the farmers, so that they can understand how they want things to be done, and at least negotiate with us and the upcoming farmers to not give up on the different types of farming, and look at a way of at least solving the problems that we are having right now as a country. And in as much as we are talking about US, we are just trying to look at how thriving countries and maybe countries that are left behind can borrow and do more and create something better from what they're going through.
We didn't complete the categories
of
agroforestry practices. So I spoke about riparian and upland forest buffers. Should I repeat on that again?
Please.
You can pick on that. Riparian forest buffers are strips of permanent vegetation consisting of trees, shrubs, and grass planted or managed between agricultural land and water bodies to reduce runoff and non-profit source pollution. Pollution. Pollution Forest buffers are usually planted in 3 distinct zones near an agricultural streams for stabilizing stream banks, improving aquatic and terrestrial habitats, and providing harvestable products. Upland buffers with cool or warm seasoned grass alone or combined with shrubs and are also used to reduce non-point source pollution. Why am I saying pollination? Agriculture is so much in my head.
I know.
And prevents gully formation in agricultural watersheds. So this one is basically talking about erosion. Yeah. Because most water banks, if it's left bare, it will expand. And the more it expands, the more, like, is it called, which erosion is that? The riverbank. I think we studied agriculture in high school.
Is it
the riverbank?
From the first one where we have the splash, then the sheet, then the reel, then the gully.
Yeah. The gully.
The gully is the last one.
Caused by water.
Of course.
All of
yeah. Of course.
Okay. Should I take the second one?
Please.
Windbreak. Windbreak practices. Windbreak practices and variations. Examples are shutter belts, timber belts, hedge growth, and living snow fences. Hey, we'll have to do research on that. The snow fences, it sounds fancy.
Anyway, even as we continue, we'll just have a short commercial break, and we will be with you after this break. Please stay with us.
Agroforestry is where you plant trees with crops or on the same land as rearing livestock. This system is climate smart in itself. It helps to conserve soil and water. It makes soils more fertile and can provide food and shade for your livestock. It's also a good way to make extra income from selling wood and timber. Here are some examples of crops, trees and livestock in agroforestry systems. Food crops: pigeon peas, sweet potatoes, green grams. Pastures: napier and bracharia. Fruit trees: citrus and pawpaws. Wood trees: eucalyptus, gravelia and neem. Livestock: cattle, sheep and goats. If you're interested in starting agroforestry on your shamba, ask your extension agent for advice or get in touch with iShamba. Agroforestry is where you plant trees with crops or on the same land as rearing livestock. This system is climate smart in itself. It helps to conserve soil and water. It makes soils more fertile and can provide food and shade for your livestock. It's also a good way to make extra income from selling wood and timber. Here are some examples of crops, trees and livestock in agroforestry systems. Food crops: pigeon peas, sweet potatoes, green grams. Pastures: napier and bracharia. Fruit trees: citrus and pawpaws. Wood trees: eucalyptus, gravelia and neem. Livestock: cattle, sheep and goats. If you're interested in starting agroforestry on your shamba, ask your extension agent for advice or get in touch with iShamba.
Welcome back, and we are continuing with the discussion on agroforestry, and Stephanie is still taking us on. And before we continue, I would like to still remind you about Sprout, and this is where our young farmers and other farmers can also Okay.
Livestock windbreaks help reduce animal stress and mortality. It improves feed and water consumption, enhance weight gain and calving success rates, and control odor. Timber, timber beds are managed within wind beds, also designed to increase the value of forestry components.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically, they prevent the crops and maybe the livestock from being attacked by the pests and the parasites, and looking so much, I see that the trees really help so much when it comes to nutrients, to fertility, to controlling pests, to acting like as windbreaks. So this is really good for our farming practice.
Yeah. So I go to the next one. Yeah. There's early cropping. This practice combines trees planted in single or multiple rows with an agricultural or horticultural crops cultivated in the wide alleys between the tree rows. High value hardwoods such as oak, walnut, ash, and pecan are favored species in early cropping practices and can potentially provide high value lumber or vinyl logs in the long term.
Yeah. And that is very good. And even as we continue, everything that is always done with a plan, and definitely we must have a plan for agroforestry, and you can't just start. So in the steps to developing an agroforestry plan, we have the personal assessment, where we have initial objectives and priorities. We have evaluation evaluation of personal resources. Then we have biophysical site assessment, and we have agroforestry development ideas, evaluating the best bets in the context of the industry. So as we begin first, the first one is personal assessment. You must first get yourself into a meeting, before starting this, and look at way if maybe whatever you're going to start, be it the agroforestry that you're talking about, is it something that will be of your worth? Is it something that you really need? Is it something that is going to give you more benefits than loss? Because nobody's looking for loss. You have something to say?
Yeah, I think when it comes to personal assessment, we can also add that, like, you should also check where your farm is located.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, because I don't. I want us to have a thought about this. If agroforestry, if you can do it in a residential area, it can't. I don't think it can. It can work in a residential area.
And so why do you think if we do it on a residential area, it can't work? Can it not permanently work? Or
okay, for agroforestry, okay, a residential place, what I'm picturing in my mind is like an estate.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. But in as much as maybe it's an estate, if maybe there's a piece of land somewhere close to the estate, you can still do it. So maybe trying to say an urban area. An urban area. Of course, you cannot try planting trees inside your house. It doesn't really make sense. So just look at your surrounding. That is, and personal assessment very important. And as we continue, we also have the physical site assessments, where we have identifying current land uses. You have to check what are we doing with our land right now. What are people using land for?
What are the current trends in agriculture?
Of course.
Or rather agroforestry.
Yeah, true. And if you look at that, that is giving you more reasons to want to put agroforestry into thought, because maybe it's your way forward. And still saying, still going back, this is still in relation to climate smart agriculture. Yeah, and for smart agricultural, for smart farmers, I think this is something that you should start adopting after watching this video.
Yeah, going forward on the biophysical site assessments, actually, it's just something we are talking about. Climate assessments. You should assess the climatic conditions.
Oh,
of
yeah,
that
yeah,
area.
yeah. So, if we are assessing the climatic condition of the area, I have this question that is really disturbing me. If we are doing that, remember the reason for starting agroforestry is to try to deal with the climatic conditions right now. I don't know if maybe one of our viewers is also asking the same question, but how can you deal with that? Because if that is the reason why we're doing agroforestry, why should we like put the climatic condition of an area into consideration?
Because not all crops, not all trees grow in the same climatic.
Yeah, but I think that is the reason why we said at least we have the long rooted trees that can at least acquire water and nutrients, and hardy woods which can withstand actually the harsh weather condition of the area. Or what do you think?
Okay, when we talk about the climatic conditions of an area, okay, we can't let's put a comparison. We compare the climatic conditions in Garissa and the ones that are in Kakamega, and you want to start agroforestry in both places. Yeah. So in Garissa, Garissa is somehow drought.
Yeah.
You'll have to go with the drought tolerant crops.
Yeah.
So I think that's the catch in climatic assessment.
Anyway, still, I think it can happen because agroforestry is just all about hardy woods that can really withstand the harsh environment.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
That almost skipped my mind.
Don't forget about that.
Yeah.
Let it not skip your mind, Stephanie. Yeah, but it was just to at least get our audience jogged up and get to understand why it is important to first do the climatic assessment of the region. That is very good. Of course. Of course. And we also have look at the map area. Yeah, look at where you want to do your agroforestry development. Where are you stated? I think that is where you can also think of if it's an urban area or if it's in a rural area. If maybe it's a piece of land that may encourage the practice of agroforestry. Yeah.
If it's near like water sources.
Yeah, true. Near water. Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, that is the right definition of what I'm talking about. You look at the natural resources like near the river. Yeah, because if at least they can, the trees can draw the water, they can give it. At least the plants can also get it. Yeah, and it can really boost the faster growth of the trees. Yeah. And anyway, moving on, we have the soil assessment. Very important too.
Yeah.
Because soil has everything that will give crops and livestock whatever they need to grow. Whereby you need to see the soil that you want to grow your crops in, where you want to keep your livestock, because if the soil does not have nutrients, and if your soil is not fertile, I don't think it is really possible. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult, and you'll have to, after assessing your soil, definitely you'll have to put some of the ways that might lead to making the soil fertile into consideration. Yeah,
I think that sums it well.
Yeah. And we also have the physical features. I think the physical features
we're talking about the terrain. If
exactly.
It's slopey, flat.
Exactly. So, by the way, which is the best place where we can do farming? Is it on slopey or?
Okay, we can do it both on slopey and on a flat. Is it a flat surface or just a normal surface?
Depending.
Yeah, because on slopey there are measures you need to take, like doing what is it called? Strip. not strip. Building. I don't know how to call it. Building.
Is it building the what? Is it this the stones that are put together
To prevent surface runoff.
together in a gabions?
Yeah.
Is it
Not
the
gabions. Gabions is for soil erosion.
For soil erosion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But now for planting, you build. Okay, we'll research about that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. In as much as even we continue, we also have timber and non-timber forest crop inventory. We look at the forest crop inventory, where we look at maybe if they are timber or non-timber crop, and that is very important. And even as we move on, we have agroforestry development ideas, where we have agroforestry ideas brainstorming. You need to brainstorm on maybe the type of crops you want to grow, right?
The trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe if it's a maize, it's a beans, it's maybe a millet. Yeah, you
But
have
I
to
used to see
really.
my mom plant napier grass.
Oh.
With it's just that as at now I can't really catch the name of the skuma. Not skuma really,
Yeah.
but the boga that she was planting with in between. No, it was some type of grass, but I think it was napier grass. And fodder napier grass is fodder crops. Yeah. So yeah, I think this is it was her idea to put that into consideration, because I think that was the best for her during that time.
Oh yeah. And as we continue, we also have the evaluating, listing the best bets. And when you list the best bets, this is like looking at what will work for you. If maybe today, I think when we look at the places, assessing places where we want to grow, the physical places, we also need to look at what will come out.
Yeah. What? Okay, that's now when the climatic conditions of the area comes in place,
and the kind of crop that will withstand the situation.
Resources.
True. Yeah. So even as we continue, we also have evaluating the best bets in the context of the industry too. Yeah.
You do a SWOT analysis.
Yes, exactly. And we also have the Porter 5 forces model step, and revising your best bets marketing strategy for the best bet. Yeah, I think best bets just covers everything from choosing your land, choosing the type of crop, looking at the market strategies, what is currently in demand. Maybe that is when looking at the market and the industry that is around you. Where can you get nearer? Which industry is there? I think because if maybe we are growing trees, and the nearest we are growing tea, and the nearest industries maybe sugar cane.
For coffee.
Yeah, for sugar. Yeah, exactly. Or maybe coffee. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So because it will be like we're using a lot of resources than getting more income, using more income than getting back more income. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say when I talk about that. Yeah, so that is something that we need to really put into consideration. Yeah.
Okay, can we now talk about planning agroforestry, the steps, design? Okay, you should have your objectives and priorities ready. I'm just brushing through that. Personal resources should be ready, labor, equipment, whatever you need. Climate, soil conditions, and physical features you should be put into consideration.
And by that, before you continue, the SWOT analysis is just looking at the strength, the weakness of maybe your crops, and maybe of the area, analyzing every part and everything, not leaving anything out.
Where was I?
Anyway, just continue from looking at the step design, the strategy.
current land use, land available to practice agroforestry, and non-timber planting. Actually, I'm just mentioning what we have. We have, yeah. So going forward, we can talk about the last segment.
But still, before we continue, we also have to look at that we didn't really talk so much about looking at the target market.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in as much as we are doing agroforestry, we need to really go so much into the market and look at the target market. It's just like while doing business, you have to look at your target audience and your customers, right? Because you can't just create something without thinking about who is going to buy my product, who is going to be interested in what I'm doing, who is going to put his money on my product and give me profits on this. So that is very important. And we have to look at adding value to products, getting products to the buyer. Also how to get the products to the buyer. And also while getting products, looking at the best bets, we need to look at how we can negotiate with our buyers and come into agreement. Because you find that somebody has the best crops from their farm, the best very good outcome, but how they are going to sell it out there is a problem. You find maybe they are selling it at a lower price because they just need the money. They don't really,
they're going at a loss.
Exactly. And by doing that, they are actually pulling the market down. Because if maybe I sell it, I take my sugar cane to the shop, to the market, and I sell it to you at 2 shillings, while the other person is selling it at 10 shillings, which should be actually the actual price. It's going to lower the market, because most of the people will need it at 2 shillings. Nobody's ready to spend an extra 8 shillings. They need something that they can keep the 8 shillings and just pay for 2 shillings. So even as we continue, we have setting the price. I think that is what I was talking about. And being an entrepreneur, you need to know how to set your price. And by setting your price, I think you need to also look at your competitors.
You need to do proper market research.
Exactly, proper market research. Looking at how the selling has been done, and the market price,
how it has been.
Exactly. And demand also really stresses on the price, right? Because you find that the higher the demand, the lower the lower the price, or is it the lower the price?
The price, the higher the demand.
The lower the demand.
The higher the demand. I think the higher the demand, the higher the price.
The higher the demand, the higher.
Because now I'm putting it like this. Now maize, we must eat maize. There is demand for maize, but the price is so high.
Oh yeah, true. It makes sense. It makes sense. Because everybody needs maize, and if you need maize, it needs to go higher, because I must eat it. But if we have an alternative, and there's not too much demand, it will just go down. So it makes a lot of sense from there.
Actually, I've researched on that. It is the higher the price, the lower the level of demand.
Oh, the higher the price, the lower the level.
Because people want cheap things. I think that's how it plays.
Okay. Okay. So at least it's corrected. Sorry for getting you wrong, guys. And now it's corrected. So
and you're also allowed to put your comments below.
Exactly. And we are here for you, and we grow together. That is why we connect, learn, and grow together. And that is why Farmers Media is here for you, and I hope you're still enjoying with us and continuing to move with us as we continue to move on and on and on. And we also have promoting your products.
That plays in every business.
Exactly. And looking at this, it really takes me back to my entrepreneurship class, and we used to do business plan, whereby you have the chapter for marketing, and you look at marketing strategies, how to get your buyers, how to set price, looking at actually the SWOT analysis, where you have to look at the strength, the weakness, and what works for your company or for your business. And I think from that, it also everything is just going hand in hand. That is why I used to like wonder, why do I really have to do maths? Yeah. Why do I really have to learn maths? Why do I really have to learn chemistry? Sorry, guys who love chemistry, who love maths. Not like that. I don't love maths or chemistry, but you know, where there are times you could do it, and after you find you don't. It's a maths paper. You don't have maybe your okay, you have the set there, the pen, and you're like doing your math. Then when you look next to you, like you just turn your head like this, kuna kale kachopi, they're using the ruler, and you're like, why can't I find them?
Why need a ruler
Exactly.
in this paper?
Exactly. So you wonder. But anyway, we did it and we passed, and this is not to discourage anybody who's having trouble with maths. It's just our experience, at least to also get to know what you experienced. And I think, in as much as we may think right now it's not part of what we are doing, or maybe what the experience we've gone through, it still has something to do with everything that you're going through. At least it gave us a knowledge on what 1 plus 1 is, because 1 plus 1 is 2. And we didn't know. There are people who do it like 1 plus 1 is 11, and they'll really give you a whole written board of a reason why. Excuse me, 10,000 reasons why they think it is 1 plus 1 equals to 11. Yeah, which also makes sense to them, according to their theory. And back to theory, where you said that everybody creates their own theory, and whatever people can create even beliefs. Yeah, that is why we have Christians, we have the Muslims, we have the Indians, we have whatever you believe in. You can just even check this table.
Yeah, you can create a tradition yourself and follow it, and it will lead you to where you want to.
And I start worshiping this table, and I see it.
And you can even recruit people to come and believe.
Yeah, because you can give them a million reasons to believe that it is giving you whatever you want. It is putting food on your table. So even as we continue, we see that this really put me out, because I needed to explain why I felt so convinced that even maths, even if in as much as it's not in your career path right now that you're taking, it's still related to it, because you find that whatever I learned in my entrepreneurship class, I'm still looking at it here.
And maths and chemistry, all of them come into play, I think, in whatever we do, because in agriculture there's soil chemistry and there's data collection. Like you have to note down how many seedlings you planted.
True. So in as much as we are trying to promote our products in relation to agroforestry and climate smart agriculture, all these reasons bring us back to what can give us an income, and what can help us move forward and give a platform for the upcoming farmers and young farmers who don't really know so much about agroforestry or climate smart agriculture, and are maybe waiting for a solution. The solution is right here, right now, and still reminding you it is a farmers media where we connect, learn, and grow. So as we continue, we have promoting our products, where you have to, like, it's like making I think the social media handles that you have right now, and the everything that we use, like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, they are giving us platform to like promote our products. Say, like right now, if you go to Instagram, you find people they are selling shoes, they are selling clothes, people are airing herbal medicine, and they really give them catchy topics that you really want to do it. You want to know, for example, having acne, you want to know if this product can make somebody's face this smooth, why can't I use it? It's just a way of promoting their product and making it look so beautiful that if you use it or buy it, it's going to be of your words. Yeah.
And I also think that when promoting your products, you should also consider the target market.
True.
Like okay, when you want to promote an agricultural product, you maybe have to Google Facebook groups of farmers. Yeah. When you want to promote something in agroforestry, there are several groups, and nowadays even the places that you think that they can't access internet because the world is also going digital. Yeah. Everyone is using social media to market their products. Actually, it's very less people nowadays. I don't see so many people like by the roadside marketing their products. It's just the product that they're marketing on the roadside, they are already also on their social media platform.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I think it works that way.
Yeah, and this has really made work easier for us because back then you didn't really know how to get something. It's unless you visit the place or maybe you hear like a guy who knows a guy who told you maybe I know where to get this thing, let me just take you. And instead you can just Google online or visit Instagram, and TikTok is also helping people to air their products online and for easier communication and delivery. And also, in as much as you guys are buying things online, don't forget to be careful. Exactly. And know the real ones and the ones that are false. And please, in as much as it's social media, don't forget to be diligent, because your potential buyers really depend on truth. Yeah. So if you're doing something with the passion, you have to give the truth. And if maybe you see there are a lot of disadvantages, I think you really need to at least do more research on whatever you want to do. And after doing more research, you see how to at least limit the limitations. Limit the limitations. I know you understand what I mean by that. Because it's better you inform people, you create awareness for people to believe in what you are doing, than giving them something that they are going to regret and you losing a lot of potential buyers. Yeah. And that is something that is very important, and I think people should really adapt. And even as we continue agroforestry practices, design and management, where we have revisiting your objectives and the priorities. Definitely you have to look at your objectives.
Yeah, you have to look at the end goal of whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
In agroforestry, revisiting your objective, I think that comes into play when you have already had a farm plan, whatever you want to plant, and then now you sit down and say, now this is what I want.
And don't forget that you're still under farm planning, of which I think it's just self-explanatory. And actually, it's giving more explanation on for our viewers to at least understand what we are really going on and on about. Yeah, you can still continue.
Okay, I think I've lost myself somewhere.
Oh, you are talking about you having after having a farm plan.
Yeah, now you sit down, you say like, what do I want to achieve from all of this? I think that will make it easier to note down having that farm plan will make it easier to note down the objectives.
Yeah, and look, after having objectives, you have to look at your priorities. Am I going to put my money still putting my money on something that is not going to give me any income? It doesn't really make sense to me, because myself, I can't put my money for something that is not giving me income, because the reason why I put this money on the table is to add more value, to give me more income. And in as much as I'm also talking so much on the money, we also need to look at the creativity that comes with it, the benefits.
For you to achieve anything, like in agriculture or whatever, you have to be creative, because it's not only you that is doing that.
Exactly.
You just have to be unique in your own way. Yeah, that's where creativity comes into play.
Yeah, so we also need to have a detailed best bets crop information that is under design and management. You have to have a well laid information, a detailed one of how to make your best bets, crop information, be realistic. You can't just wake up and say, I am going to maybe buy a car. Yeah, you have to have a reason to why you're going to buy a car. Do you have the money? Are you going to this takes me back to remembering I used to tell my mom I need you to okay we like had our homestead, and I was telling my mother, and don't worry, I need you to just make a bridge for me, because the next time I'll be coming, I will need we now have a parking, so when I come with the car, I'll just put it there. And she was like, anyway, it's fine. Yeah, so it's you having a plan. Yeah, so I was like telling her, mommy, we have a parking, but the car is not there.
We need it.
Yeah, so the car should really come. Yeah, so that is just having a well lead information, and it's a by the way, guys, and we have designing your agroforestry practices. And designing your agroforestry practices, I think, is just putting your agroforestry into just practice.
Putting the plan into practice.
Exactly, the plan into practice, and trying out. I know that by trying doesn't mean you're always going to fail, and maybe by trying also doesn't mean that you're always going to win. At least you better say, you know what, I tried.
Yeah, you have to risk.
Exactly.
You have to, even when you wake up in the morning.
That is why a business cannot just run with profits. There are points where we have losses, and at the end of the day, we don't give up. We have to pull ourselves back, and say to ourselves, have our own conversation, self-conversation, and tell yourself, you know what, I can still do this, and I can still push for something to work. So there's no point, there's no wrong in risk taking, but in a good way, guys, not in a bad way. Yes, or in things that
calculative
really, exactly, the calculative risks that really add value into your life, and not the risks that are putting your life
in danger, or
in
your
danger.
business, or
More so your life is very important than even money, than anything, because if there's no life, there's nothing we can do. This exactly, because who is going to run the business if the life is not there? The business cannot run alone, because somebody with the life is the person who creates the whole plan, the agroforestry plan, the whole getting your buyers, promoting your product, right? So it's very important, guys. So it's just a calculative risk taking.
Life and good health.
Exactly. True. And you have the agroforestry development plan. You can have maybe a 5-year management projection, which will help you look at maybe the risks that came along with maybe you trying agroforestry, and how you can overcome them, so that in the near future you don't repeat the same mistakes. The profits you got, if maybe you can increase more, if maybe you'd want to like continue with this practice. It's just simple, basically a well laid plan that will help you know if whatever you're doing, is it on the right track, or is it something still weighing you down from where you are? Because we are looking at ways that we can pull each other up, and like join forces to overcome climatic issues, and issues of hunger, and people dying because of lack of starvation, which still reminds me of Shakahola. But it happened.
Okay. What can we say about Shakahola?
No,
may their souls rest in peace.
May their souls rest in peace. It's a sad story though, and I hope that we don't really go back to that, and may people learn from what we experienced, because life is really important, and I can't imagine people being brainwashed about not eating at all, not even drinking water. Yet even agroforestry, we say that we need the trees to at least pull the water
so that,
for the crops to also get water.
And those crops are the ones we used to eat.
Exactly. So guys, please take care of yourselves and look at the right things to listen to and the right steps to follow. And we have the yearly activity schedule. So this is like, I think this is
Okay.
also still, sorry?
Just to take you a step back on the market, on the planning. Yeah, I think also that aside from the general planning, we should also put factors into play, like when are we going to water the crops if there's no sufficient water,
Yeah.
how irrigation should be done, what type of irrigation do we need on this land.
True.
Yeah, what varieties of, okay, what trees and variety of crops and variety of shrubs are we going to put into play. I think all that, in addition to what you have put across, yeah, I think all that also plays a role during planning.
Yeah, and looking at the yearly activity schedule, I think this also takes me back to project management. Yeah, it's something interesting. It's also one of the units I used to have back in college, and you find that you have to like have the whole project plan and the schedule, and each and every member of that organization, or all the stakeholders have their duties, and they need to be all done, and everyone is being delegated to whatever they have to do, and at the end of the day they must reach the target and at least accomplish the tasks they were given. And that at least reduces the story about, you were supposed to do this, I was supposed to do this. You see the confusion,
no,
and
that's where collaboration,
exactly, and the hostility between co-workers and all that. Everything is just in a relation. Yeah, that is what I'm trying to say. And I think people should really adopt such, and hoping that everything that we've talked about in the planning, you guys are going to put it into consideration. Yeah, because it is really, really, really important. And that will at least make people to move into agroforestry, which will at least help us deal with a lot of issues. And by the way, the importance of agroforestry are so many. Even as we conclude, I can see we have like 9 minutes to conclude, and we don't want to be cut short. And I think as we continue, we can begin with one of the importance of agroforestry. It provides job opportunities. Yeah, because we look at different sectors whereby we find that maybe after growing your crops, maybe for example the trees, after growing the trees, we have like the industries that are producing paper, are producing pens, stationaries. We have fuel, so at least people get to sell their products to get income. So like there is job opportunity, and even the people working in the industry get to work, because from agroforestry they believe that they will get something that will earn them money too, because after producing they also get money from selling their products, which is from trees to being taken to the industry, from processing to paper, stationery, or whatever it is, the fuel and everything being sold again. So it is just a rotation. Yeah, and this also reminds us that everything that we have, most of the things that we have right now, comes from agriculture.
Yeah, almost everything.
Exactly. That is why we should really adopt the agricultural practices. And I think right now, in our country, I feel like everybody should be farming. Now, what do you think?
Okay, like everybody should be farming, but not everybody is passionate about
Yeah,
farming.
true.
Okay,
Not
passion
everybody.
also determines like the strength you will put into place when you are doing the farming. But everyone should be sensitive about the benefits of farming,
Yeah,
so that
that's
even if you don't have that interest, at least you'll be drawn towards farming. But something funny, in my life, like 95% of people, they are not farmers, but they are into farming because they love agriculture. So that also bring us to the point of creating awareness. that we should tell people, we should sensitize people on the importance of agriculture and all.
Yeah, and I think that is something that is very important. If it's something that gives people an opportunity to get income and a job opportunity, it's something great, because that also leads us to the second importance of agroforestry. It gives us income.
Yeah. And it's a diversified income stream.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you can get income from the timber that you'll get from planting trees.
Yeah.
You'll get income from the crops. And also, if you are rearing livestock on the same piece of farm, they will grow healthy, and when you sell,
Sure.
and that's a huge source of income.
Yeah, it also, when we talk of income, I see here we have helps reduce poverty, and from reducing poverty, we can still talk of providing income, giving people job
Improvement of
opportunities,
livelihoods,
exactly, improvement of livelihoods. And I think from agriculture, if I think somebody who is poor is somebody who lacks basic needs, and if we have the basic needs whereby we have the food, we have
shelter,
clothes and shelter, we're good to go. And then education, and if we do we do this, I think we can provide for our children, our young generation, and take them to school for proper education and better living. And that is where we get education, and education is always power. And even right now, we are educating you guys, and we are also educating ourselves. There are things that we didn't really know, and now we know them. And that is why we still take you back to a farmers media, where we connect, learn, and grow. Yeah, and if we can reduce poverty, I think we are just good to go. And here we have, by reducing agricultural inputs and thus production costs, or by increasing productivity, agroforestry can increase household income. I think that is what we just talked about.
And here I'm seeing agroforestry practices support agricultural production and help improve water quality, air quality, soil health, and wildlife habitat.
Exactly. So in as much as we continue to do this, we can also it can also promote the introduction of new agricultural practices, because we find that now the soil is fertile to hold any crop, and at least we get rain. Because the reasons why the trees are actually there, I think it was from a friend of mine, I think it was yesterday, who was telling us that the trees are there to like attract the rain. Attract the rain for the crops. So if we have them, at least the rain will be there. And if the rain is again too much, they can also
access the breakers.
Exactly.
Their leaves.
Exactly. So at least it doesn't destroy our crops too much,
and also improve soil health in the process.
Exactly. It also improves soil health. That is why we were talking about soil assessment, and from there we see that we need to look at the type of soil where we want to do our farm practice, of which is agroforestry, and we have to really check it properly before we start. That is the reason to doing this is to know if maybe you need which kind of maybe you need some kind of fertilizer, some kind of maybe if you're going to do which one, the manure,
the compost manure,
compost manure. And we also have the recognition through incentives of the environmental services provided by agroforestry can provide a new source of income. We've talked about that. And we also have improves food and nutrition security. And improving food and nutrition security, first we start with agroforestry gives us food. That is number one. And if we can get food, we get the strength and we get the energy to work and get more income. And nutrition security, and here we have, particularly in developing countries, planting trees together with crops or on pasture lands can help fight hunger and malnutrition, as trees are a source of food, fuel, and non-wood products that can be either directly consumed, stock used, or sold. And growing trees which provide food, such as fruits, nuts, leaves, provide an easy, accessible, nutritious food for household. And at least while practicing this, we can reduce the use of GMO type of products, and go back to eating natural foods.
Organic.
Exactly, organic foods.
Actually, we can promote for organic agriculture.
Exactly. And we also have the trees felled or their residue can be used as wood energy, where we talked of creating fuel and for cooking or heating. And by capturing, filtering, and storing water, agroforestry system may play an important role in regulating water supply. Yeah. So at least we get to use water sparingly. Yeah.
And okay, as a climate, as a last importance, climate change mitigation and adaptation. Growing trees in agricultural systems can reduce the impact of climate change on agriculture. Sourcing tree products from trees grown on farm reduces the need to cut trees and hence reduce the rate of deforestation. That is quickly getting rid of the planet's carbon sinks while releasing stored carbon into the environment. Trees in agroforestry systems therefore help mitigate climate change through carbon sequestration. I think what is sequestration? Carbon sequestration. We'll just have to look into that for our viewers right away. Yeah.
And even as we continue, the practice of growing trees together with the crops is to do away with the vulnerabilities, whereby at least we are able to produce crops that can withstand harsh weather conditions. And by this, it improves the recovery of people after natural hazards, disasters, and socioeconomic downturns, and by increasing diversity of production within the farming systems.
Yeah, so I have gotten the meaning of carbon sequestration. It's a natural artificial process by which carbon dioxide is removed from the atmosphere and held in solid or liquid form.
Oh, nice. So at least it can reduce the harmful
effects.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The harmful the effects of carbon dioxide. Sorry, on people, which is very good. We also have tree root helps to strengthen soil structure, thus mitigating erosion and preventing possible landslides. I remember I talked about the benefits, whereby it reduces the vulnerabilities, whereby right now here we're looking at how it helps the soil. It prevents soil erosion. You see, we have after growing them, they act as cover.
As cover crops.
Exactly. Some of them act as cover, whereby they prevent
the loss of
moisture, soil from being eroded or collapsing, because they are firmly held together. Yeah, I heard you some time ago, a while back. You are saying that it at least puts soil together.
And also provide nutrients.
Provide nutrients. At least soil cannot easily break, right? And we have the water conservation functions of trees and forests, which help prevent or fight desertification and its social and environmental consequences. So there we have water being conserved and by trees and forests, helping to prevent or fight desertification and its social environment. So in as much as we have the progress observing alleviating or reducing hunger in many countries, there remains approximately 800 million people who are still chronically undernourished. However, just looking at these figures will be overlooking another highly important component of food security. And all I know and all I have to say about this is that if we start, it's better trying than just staying and waiting from maybe manna from heaven, which is not there right now. We need to think, be creative, and adopt whatever can work, and not stay and wait for whatever is not going to happen.
And I guess like with that, we've actually covered the basics of agroforestry that we needed, and now we are just urging our audience, our guests, not guests, our audience, to try and share more with us, and also if you can interact with us in the comment section, tell us what we missed. We would appreciate.
Yeah, and by then there's something I'm getting here, that most of the world poor most of the world poor live in rural areas, and moreover, in 2015, 10% of people in rural areas lived in extreme poverty.
No, those are statistics.
Yeah, that is a statistics, and mostly in Africa and in Southern Asia. Yeah, and an important share of them are subsistence farmers, pastoralists, or landless agricultural workers. And this really limits some of the people, because you find that some people have the passion to want to do farm practices, but because they don't have the land, it really limits them. Yeah, because actually looking at our country too, you find that some of the most of the pieces of lands around are for the government. So it really restricts us from doing agricultural practices. And another thing is that our country really tends to like get products from outside.
We import a lot.
Exactly. We really import a lot than them buying from our farmers, our own, which is really disappointing. But I hope that this will change with time. I know that people have a lot of stories of how they've been growing their crops, and most of them are just getting rotten in the granary and the stores. Like last year, there was a man who was saying that the maize is just rotting in the granary. Exactly, last year, around November, December, if I'm not wrong. And it was really bad to hear that when they were talking about food shortage. And I remember Kajiado was really dry. Kajiado County was really dry, and I was wondering, why is this happening? Yeah, there's food, and we are crying out here that there's no food. And I think this should be really looked into, and I hope the cabinet secretary for agriculture can really exactly can Linturi can Mr. Linturi can at least go through this and address this matter for young farmers and the local farmers to get platforms and get at least motivation for growing and doing more farm practices. This one will be really good, because at least we won't have a lack of job opportunities, because people will be getting something to do.
And the youth should also be sensitive about venturing into agriculture, because
exactly.
Most youth think that agriculture is for old people.
Exactly.
Yes, agriculture is it's the only thing that can keep us as a country stable.
True. Agriculture is very important, and it's something that can really push us to getting into a different level if we really put our minds and everything into agriculture. And I know that if we try this out, we are going to be somewhere, guys, because it is something that is really good. And the poverty that we're looking at here, Africa being mentioned again in poverty, it's really not something that we are proud of.
We should do something about it.
Yeah, it's something that we should just step up our game, pull up our socks, get up and work on. And I know that after that we are going to be somewhere. So I'm just urging our government to please look into the agricultural matter, because if we continue like this, like for example, the price of maize is continuing to go higher and higher and higher. And I saw that our CS, I think our CS was urging people to eat more rice, start adopting rice. So much, because the price of maize is going higher, and the countries that were importing rice to us, maize to us, are beginning to withdraw because of food shortage. Yeah, so there's no reason for them to feed people who are not from their country and leave their people to die of hunger. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. So it's something that we really need to look into. And not just sit and start eating rice because we've been told that maize cannot be gotten out from outside.
We should take incentives.
Exactly, we should take incentives, and we should take proper caution. And so that is that for agroforestry, and I would like to thank you for staying with us until the end of this live, and thank you for viewing, and I hope that we will be with you again tomorrow, same time, same place, and we are very grateful. Don't forget to check our social media handles once again. It's a farmers media in Facebook at a farmers media, on Twitter is also at a farmers media, TikTok a farmers media. And my name is Dotrin Akinyi. I am your host.
And my name is Stephanie Sharon Okayo. It was a pleasure interacting with you on this segment.
Yes, thank you so much, and see you next time. Have a lovely evening.
Agroforestry is where you plant trees with crops or on the same land as rearing livestock. This system is climate smart in itself. It helps to conserve soil and water. It makes soils more fertile and can provide food and shade for your livestock. It's also a good way to make extra income from selling wood and timber. Here are some examples of crops, trees and livestock in agroforestry systems. Food crops: pigeon peas, sweet potatoes, green grams. Pastures: napier and bracharia. Fruit trees: citrus and pawpaws. Wood trees: eucalyptus, gravelia and neem. Livestock: cattle, sheep and goats. If you're interested in starting agroforestry on your shamba, ask your extension agent for advice or get in touch with iShamba.